This portion of the presentation will discuss Chapter 18, The Drivers of the Study, from the textbook Research Design and Counseling, 4th edition, by Heppner, Wampold, Owen, Thompson, and Wang.
Hi everyone, my name is Angela and welcome to Fungversity. My colleague Jennifer and I will be summarizing the chapters 18 and 19 of Heppner's textbook, Research Design and Counseling. Chapter 18 will talk about independent variables. And hey Jennifer, what is chapter 19 going to be about?
Oh yeah, Angela, we're going to talk about dependent variables, what kind of errors you need to look out for, and how they do their job. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you're ready.
The objective for today is to understand the role of independent variables, learn the purpose of manipulation checks, and increase our awareness to limit confounds in research design. Let's start with a question for you. What is an independent variable? For example, if my research question is, does sleep impact concentration? What's the independent variable?
An independent variable affects the outcome of a study. It's the variable the researcher manipulates to see how it impacts the dependent variable. A dependent variable depends on the independent variable to produce change. A variable is any element that researchers want to measure.
Okay, it's time for the test. Is everybody ready? Well, here we go. Good luck.
And so an independent variable can have multiple conditions or categories. For example, this is Laura. She slept for 2 hours last night. This is Jeff. He slept for 4 hours. This is Shannon. She slept for 6 hours.
Although the purpose of the study was to measure how sleep impacts concentration, there are several confounding variables that may interfere with the study, such as unexpected life circumstances or physical health. Although it's impossible to eliminate every confound, it's possible to minimize them using manipulation checks. Some ways this can be done include having participants take inventories, have independent raters judge experimental materials, and have coder rate the dimension intermittently. Now let's take what we learned and put it into practice. If we have here two groups of people eating different food items, for example from Daniel chapter 1, 11 to 20, one group will continue to eat the royal food, and Daniel's group will eat fruits and vegetables. After 7 days, it appears that Daniel's group appear healthier. What would be the independent variable? Exactly, it would be the two different types of food. Now back to Jennifer.
Thanks, Angela. Now we're going to talk about dependent variables. That's what you observe in an experiment. It's a really important part of any experiment, and it's really interesting. So let's go. Today we are talking about the power of the dependent variable, based on Chapter 19 of Research Design and Counseling, 4th edition, published in 2015 by Heppner, Wampold, Owen, Thompson, and Wang. The dependent variable is what we observe in an experiment. It is the outcome or outcomes based on the manipulation of the independent variable. We decide what dependent variables to look for by starting with the research question. The DV should reflect the constructs of the research question, which should be as clear as possible. It's important to remember that the DV is meant to measure the effect of the independent variable, so it should reflect that as well. If an experiment has unaccounted for errors, the results could be uninformative at best, but it could be misleading or completely erroneous. Here are some common errors to watch out for. Random response error can occur anytime a participant or human is responding to an evaluation. It mostly occurs when written responses are required and can be because the participant didn't understand a question. However, we can counter these errors by using multiple test items that measure the same ideas. Specific errors happen when there is something in the testing instrument that the researcher did not mean to be there. It is a confound, as the scores produced from the instrument may be measuring multiple things. The questions of the assessment may clue them in on what you're looking for. Transient errors measure a trait or quality within a particular snapshot of time, where the conditions at the time may affect the trait being measured. The measurement of some things can be elevated depending on when it is measured. Someone with bipolar will score higher on a depression inventory during a depressive episode. You have inter-rater disagreement when two or more subjective raters rate similar behaviors in different ways due to their own biases or attitudes. Scoring and recording errors are the fault of the researcher and not the participant. They occur when the data is changed or manipulated in the process of scoring the assessment or reporting the findings. You can counter this error by being careful. When multiple errors combine to completely destroy any possible reliability in an assessment, we call that compounding errors. We work to eliminate the chance of these errors occurring by being aware of them and working to prevent them. You should use multiple measures whenever possible to ensure that your results are valid. Using several variables to assess a construct makes a stronger measurement, as the different variables will each encompass portions of the construct not addressed by the others. Utilizing these multiple measures allows for a bigger and more complete picture. Remember, the role of the dependent variable is to understand how participants function in normal situations. Variables that affect the traits we are trying to measure are called reactive variables. When designing a good dependent variable, there are 4 important factors to consider. How much time does the assessment take? Is the assessment readable at a level they can understand? Which should go first, second, or third? Is the participant familiar with the assessment and the answers? The job of the dependent variable is data collection. There are several ways in which the dependent variable can be observed and information collected. The first way is with self-reports. They are easy to administer and can be given in a group setting to save time. They do not require expertise or training to administer. However, participants may have a hard time expressing themselves verbally. Ratings are easy to administer and are very flexible. They are usually done by experts with knowledge and experience in their field. They have proven psychometric properties under various conditions and individuals. However, the raters can be biased by their knowledge or experience. In behavioral observations, the focus is on overt, observable behaviors and not inferences by an expert. It is a direct and objective measure and is less susceptible to bias as self-reports are. Physiological indexes are biological responses to stimuli. They work well because many psychological issues have observable physical components, and the direct nature of the measure eliminates bias to a large degree. Interviews allow for flexibility in design in that probing questions and explanations can be introduced. The human interaction between interviewer and participant creates a more in-depth inquiry. Interviewing can be expensive in terms of time and money, and training is required. One direct method of evaluation is projective techniques, where participants seek to create meaning out of an abstract or ambiguous stimuli. It allows participants to be uncensored and at ease. However, it is time-consuming to give. Finally, unobtrusive measures are another indirect method of data collection. It is non-reactive in that the subjects do not know they are being observed, and the observation takes place in a natural setting. This type of measure can potentially be unethical, and data is often difficult and expensive to obtain. Dependent variables are the linchpin to good research. Through the collection of good data with minimum error and strong reliability, we are able to generalize findings and generate new research ideas and constructs. Thank you for your time.